Now, as we have been reporting, it has been a tough day for the Israeli home front with these rocket attacks on civilian areas throughout the country. So how is the civilian population in Israel coping with the terror, with the stress, with the isolation of the past week? And how can it cope better with that? Well, for more on that, we are joined from Jerusalem by Dr. Camilla Forkash-Lavan. She is a practicing psychologist. And Camilla, I used to speak to you in the days with COVID when people were dealing with the isolation. In some ways, I almost feel this past week has been a return to that, people stuck in their homes for much of the past week. But added on to this, of course, is that terror that even in your own home, you're not safe. So talk about the stress that this has for the Israeli population.
As always, it's really nice to see you. And unfortunately, under these circumstances, hopefully we're going to be reporting on something happy and, in the near future. But yes, it does have a little bit of or a lot of a throwback to Corona. And in a way, I mean, nobody would want this on purpose, yes, but in a way, it's a good experience if we take it in terms of learning experience and the learning curve that we have had Corona, and we're also, unfortunately, one of the most experienced, so to speak, countries being in war, yeah. So on one hand, our PTSD level as a country is one of the highest. On the other hand, we're really good at, getting up in the morning and making that omelet, right? So this is one of those moments of like, try to, even though it sounds crazy, but try to remember self-care as much as possible, meaning this shall pass too, but in the meantime, to try to keep sane as much as possible. So do self-care, sleep during the day, because obviously one of the reasons, of course, it's also a psychological attack, that the attacks are happening in the evening and in the middle of the night. That's not by chance. So do try to sleep during the day as much as you can. Put away anything that is not something that's very important and urgent right now. Don't do it, triage. And especially if you're parents, to the children, because they're watching you as well.
Right. Well, let's talk about children, because the schools have been canceled. We don't know, even though there was a directive for people that enabled people to go back to work if there's a shelter, but that may have been a bit hasty given what we saw this morning. But schools are still not back. So what can people do to deal with having those children at home and having to bring them down to these shelters at all hours of the night?
So again, make sure, first of all, that again, is in triage, like really functional, right? The situation is horrible. Try to limit as much as possible the news and things that are stressing you out more, because it's already a very stressful situation. Try to do something that also gives you a peace of mind as a parent, meaning if you're more balanced, your children will feed off of that and they will be more relaxed as well. Otherwise, it's just a snowballing effect of everyone's crying and screaming and very frustrated when the situation is already frustrated. So have also games, have books, have coloring paper, things that are very easy and simple to take, just literally pencils and a notebook, something that you can grab easily, but will also entertain the children, and they will be, doing something while they are there closed in. And also try to be as calm as you can yourself, meaning if you need to cry and have a little nervous breakdown somewhere in the corner, that is something that you should also allow yourself to have, whatever that might mean for everyone individually. But when you are with children, do talk, about the stress and ask them how they're feeling, but don't try not to put your stress on them for support, especially, be age appropriate, because this is something that might affect them, and in a way it will affect them for the future, and it will do so more if the parent is more stressed, if that makes sense. So try to keep as sane as calm as you can. Do something funny if you can, watch some TikTok, this is the time, do whatever, play dirty, do anything that you can to keep yourself sane and stable. Nekuda.
Right. Okay. So that is in the whole, in terms of families and homes. Let's talk a little about the authorities, the government. It's a difficult situation because, unlike, say, COVID, where there was perhaps some preparation time for the authorities to deal with what was coming, because this was a surprise attack. The government really did not prepare the population in any way for this. How have they been doing? Is there more the authorities could be doing just to deal with certainly there's more they could be doing in terms of, bomb shelters and that kind of thing. But in terms of dealing with, for example, the stress, the psychological toll on Israelis.
I would recommend, first of all, they are doing already a lot. We can see, and I'm sure a lot of things we don't know what are happening behind the scenes, but I would highly, highly recommend to scramble as much as you can, develop some programming in terms of education for self-care, and what do you do with children, and how do you set up, your home environment to work, or to, grab a book, even though you can't concentrate on the book right now so easily, or again, watch something nice. Be sure to give those messages and normalize the situation that is completely crazy, meaning it makes sense that people are stressed. It's okay that you're stressed. It's okay that there's difficulty sleeping. Sleep when you can. If you have extra dirty dishes, forget the dishes. Dishes are going to be there when you come back. You're going to wash them. Do whatever you need to do just for the moment. And I think it's very important that some of that programming for self-care and how to function during this time, even if it's short little videos, would be very, very important, because a lot of people just don't know. And maybe even some of us do know, but it's good if someone reminds us from the outside, because when a person is on survival, sometimes that's the last thing that they're thinking of is care. And exactly that's the time when you need to think of self-care even more, when it's so stressful, so that you come out on the other side as sane as you can and as balanced as you can. And of course, more healing will need to take place and therapy will need to take place. But again, I'm going back to, especially if you're a parent to children, because they are watching you, and how you are will affect them very, very much as well. They're reading you all the time.
Camilla, one last question. There are, at ILTV, of course, we have many viewers abroad who have relatives and friends in Israel, and even those that don't have strongly, identify with Israel, and maybe are themselves. I hear from people abroad, they're stressed by seeing what is happening in this country. What word do you have for those people abroad about how to deal with just the news that they're getting every day, and maybe their feelings of kind of frustration that they're not even in some way part of it?
Brilliant question, as always. I really, again, thank you so much for bringing in these kinds of topics to begin with and asking these kinds of questions. They're very, very astute. So as you know, I work internationally, and there are many clients that do exactly what you're saying. Some live abroad, some have relatives here, some lived here and moved there, some got stuck in the middle of all kinds of countries on the way back. So it's very important. Also, I'm reaching out right now in part to also educators within different countries, within different communities. Be very sensitive in how you're speaking. This is also from feedback from clients, yes? How you're speaking to children, how you're addressing the community, how you're addressing the Israeli community that lives within different countries, including US. The needs might be a little bit different. There's often an assumption that Israelis just aren't as sensitive or don't care as much, because they're so used to managing the stress and hiding their feelings in a way, and pretending like everything's okay. And then often they even believe like it's okay, even when it's not okay, right? So no, someone throwing at you bombs or being scared of you being stabbed for years on end is not okay, but it's being diminished as though it is. And there is a sense of embarrassment almost for being a Jew, or it's a political statement just to say that I'm a Jew, right? So there is a lack of support and a huge confusion within the community itself. So I think it's very important that first of all, for educators and for community leaders to get as much education on the topic. Don't be embarrassed to be like, I don't know, what do I do? How do I do this? It's very important. And for families, do keep in touch, and also try to keep your stress to yourself to a degree, meaning don't now stress out more the people that are already in Israel and stressed out anyway. Of course, you want to know what's happening, ask what's happening, but also get yourself educated in terms of news and things like that. But then also try to be there as a support, not as a stress factor. Right? And then also talk to somebody, reach out to somebody. This is the time to reach out for support to whoever it is there within your community, within your circle of friends that is going to hold you. Definitely.
All right. We have to all take
sleep.
care of and sleep. Yes, when you can here.
When
but
you can.
We have to all take care of our mental health. Dr. Camilla Forkash-Lavon, thank you for joining us on ILTV.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Stay safe.